The stars stretched endlessly before the Zorathian trade fleet as it glided through the outer rim of the galaxy. The fleet consisted of over 100 ships, carrying precious minerals, technology, and diplomats for a routine trade mission. It was supposed to be an uneventful journey, but nothing about this day would be routine. Captain Velith of the lead Zorathian cruiser squinted at the main view screen. "Sensor readings are unusual," he said, his claws tapping nervously against the console. "I don't understand it. There's something massive ahead. Too massive to be a ship, it may be a planet." The fleet's science officer, Lyra, leaned forward, her many eyes narrowing. "It's not a planet. No gravity anomalies, no orbital signature. It doesn't match any asteroid fields or dead moons. It's unknown." Her voice trembled slightly, though she tried to hide it. "It's huge, far bigger than anything we've ever cataloged." As the fleet approached, the anomaly began to reveal its true form. First, a glint of metal against the starlight. Then, massive hull plates joined together with precision unlike anything the aliens had seen. The fleet fell silent as their sensors tried to scan the object. "Impossible," Velith whispered. "This is a ship. How can a single ship be this large?" His antennae quivered with tension. Ships like this were not supposed to exist, not from humans. Humans were a small, insignificant species that the galaxy had long written off. They had colonies scattered across a few minor systems, and their technology was considered primitive. Yet here, in the cold void, floated a vessel the size of a small moon. The ship stirred. Its lights blinked in a sequence that seemed almost intelligent. Then, to the horror of the fleet, a communication signal reached them. Dozens of languages played at once in perfect clarity: the Zorathian tongue, the Graxian dialect, and even the rarely used Tharnish code. Every captain aboard the fleet felt a chill as a calm, human voice spoke. "Greetings, travelers. You are approaching restricted space. Identification, please. We wish only safe passage." The fleet was stunned. It had never encountered human communications at this level. Not only did humans speak dozens of languages simultaneously, but the tone was calm, polite, almost commanding. Velith's claws shook. This is impossible. Humans cannot have ships like this. They were primitive, they were unremarkable, but the sensors confirmed it. Every reading said the same thing: Titan-class warship, Earth-built. Inside the Titan, Captain Alina Graves stood on the bridge, calm and composed. She watched the small fleet with quiet curiosity. Every system in the ship hummed softly, every sensor ready, but none of it was armed for attack. This ship was built for endurance, for presence, for showing strength without firing a shot. "Prepare standard hailing protocol," Alina said. Her voice was steady, confident, and entirely human. "Let them see that we mean no harm. Let them understand we are just passing through." The bridge crew, trained for decades for moments like this, obeyed silently. Communications arrays shifted, sensors calibrated, and the Titan's massive frame gleamed in starlight. Outside, the alien fleet scanned and rescanned the ship, trying to understand. Every time their sensors failed, panic grew. "Captain Velith," Lyra said, her many eyes wide. "This ship, it emits energy far beyond anything we know. Its shields are impervious to our scans. Its size, it's impossible. How can one human ship be this powerful and still quiet?" Velith could only shake his head. "It's not just size or shields. Its very presence is intimidating. It shouldn't exist, and yet it does." The aliens debated their options. Some suggested opening fire to protect the fleet. Others argued that attacking a ship whose power output exceeded entire star systems would be suicidal. But even in the midst of fear, one thing was clear: this was not a normal human ship. This was something entirely new. Alina observed silently, noticing the trembling in the fleet's movements. She knew that humans had always been underestimated. Other species counted humans as weak, small, irrelevant. But humans had a history of surviving the impossible. This ship was not a weapon of destruction. It was a statement. The Titan-class warship moved slowly, deliberately, positioning itself between the fleet and the sector's inner border. Its massive engines emitted a gentle glow, but there was no aggressive motion. Yet the aliens felt trapped. Every instinct screamed danger, even though the ship's sensors detected no threat. Then, the alien fleet's largest scout ship attempted to approach, trying to get a better sensor reading. Within moments, its systems faltered. Communications scrambled. Its engines flickered. Panic erupted on the bridge. Systems failing, we can't approach closer. Eleanor's voice came over the hailing channel again, calm and human. Please maintain your distance. You are safe. No harm will come to you. We only wish to pass. The Zorathian captain paled. Safe, he muttered. Safe. Their ship is larger than a city, more powerful than a small star system. How can they say safe and mean it? As hours passed, the alien fleet struggled to comprehend. Some ships drifted farther away, too afraid to approach. Others tried to communicate, to demand identification. Each response was met with the same calm, polite voice. Inside the Titan, Eleanor walked along the bridge, checking her crew, ensuring all systems were operational. They were trained for combat, yes, but they were also trained for diplomacy, for patience, for making the impossible seem routine. And today, that training mattered more than firepower. Keep monitoring them, she instructed. They are nervous. Let's not make it worse. We'll continue our path and leave as quietly as we arrived. Humanity doesn't need to show its strength. It only needs to exist. The alien fleet, meanwhile, broadcasted emergency signals to the Galactic Council. Entire civilizations tuned in, observing this strange human ship. The fear was palpable. Many species assumed humans were weak, expendable. Now they faced undeniable proof. Humans were not only capable, they were far beyond expectations. Rumors began to spread. One human ship, whispered an anxious ambassador. One human ship could destroy us all, and yet it hasn't. The Titan-class warship continued its slow, deliberate path. Sensors scanned the surrounding space, not for enemies but for safety. Its massive size dwarfed the fleet, yet its purpose was not aggression. It was presence. It was a statement. Velith watched from the bridge of his cruiser, a mixture of fear and awe in his heart. I don't know if they are merciful, he admitted quietly. But I do know this: humanity is not what we thought. And as the fleet drifted, unsure, trembling, and overwhelmed, the Titan moved calmly past them. It left behind questions, awe, and a new understanding of what humanity could achieve. In the vast darkness of space, one truth became clear. Humans were no longer a minor species. They were a force that the galaxy could not ignore. And this was only the beginning. The alien fleet had barely recovered from the shock of seeing the Titan-class warship. Messages had been sent across multiple star systems, and soon the news spread like wildfire. A single human ship, larger than anything in known space, had calmly passed through the border sector. Panic was spreading, but curiosity grew even faster. In the fleet, diplomats, scientists, and military leaders debated what they had seen. Captain Velith, said Lyra, her voice still trembling, I have analyzed the Titan's energy readings again. Its propulsion system is impossible. Its defensive systems beyond comprehension. And yet it emits no hostility, not even a threat signal. Velith tapped his claws nervously. We need to understand it. We must report this to the Galactic Council immediately. Humanity cannot be treated as a minor species anymore. This changes everything. But as messages were sent, the alien fleet learned that the humans had left something behind. A trail, a signature of their technology, their intelligence, their history. It was subtle, almost hidden, yet powerful. Analysts across the galaxy examined the data and began piecing together what had been ignored for centuries. Meanwhile, aboard the Titan, Captain Eleanor Graves stood in the ship's central observation deck. Her crew worked quietly around her. Each officer knew their task: maintain calm, stay alert, and let humanity's presence speak louder than any weapon. "Captain," said Lieutenant Torres, her hand resting on a console, "I've received signals from nearby systems. They are trying to catalog us, to understand our history. They are reaching out to their intelligence networks." Elinor nodded. "Let them. There is nothing to hide. Humans have always been underestimated. Perhaps now the galaxy will finally understand." The alien analysts had started connecting fragments of human history. Humanity had survived disasters others could not imagine: global wars, resource collapses, pandemics, even near-extinction events. Every time, humans had adapted. They had rebuilt stronger, smarter, and more determined. One historian among the aliens, a species called the Tharn, muttered, "They were supposed to vanish. Their technology was primitive, their population weak, and yet here they are, building ships the size of moons. How?" The answer was beginning to appear. Humans thrived on adaptability and innovation. They engineered redundancy into every system. Their cities could function under extreme conditions. Their colonies were self-sufficient. And above all, they planned for worst-case scenarios that no other species considered. In the Titan, Elinor walked along the observation deck, looking out at the alien fleet. "It surprises them," she said softly. "They think strength comes from aggression, from firepower, from dominance. But humanity's strength is endurance. It is the ability to survive, adapt, and rise above any challenge." Her executive officer, Commander Malik, nodded. "They see a ship, Captain, and they see power. But they do not understand that our real power is in how we think, how we prepare, and how we value life. They will learn eventually." The aliens tried to make sense of it. Data from hundreds of sensors, historical records, and galactic archives could not explain how humans had reached this point. One common theory emerged: humans had survived against impossible odds, and every survival forced them to improve. Other species built civilizations for comfort. Humans built civilizations to endure catastrophe. The Zorathian captain, Velith, struggled to comprehend. He convened a meeting aboard his flagship, with diplomats and military officers from multiple species. The council chamber buzzed with fear and awe. "We must consider the implications," said Ambassador Kron of the Grax. "One human ship, one capable of dominating an entire sector, and yet it poses no threat. What does this mean for interstellar trade, for diplomacy, for security?" "Do you not see?" Lyra interjected. "It means humanity is prepared. They are not seeking conflict. They do not need to assert dominance because their position is unshakable. The ship itself is a message. We exist, and the galaxy must acknowledge it." Whispers filled the room. Some species were afraid, others curious. A few, like the Tharn historian, were fascinated. "All this time, we ignored them. All this time, we thought they were insignificant. And all this time, humans were preparing for a universe far more dangerous than we could imagine." Back on the Titan, Elinor convened her bridge officers for a briefing. "We have made our presence known," she said. "Now we let the galaxy reflect. They will talk, they will fear, and they will respect. We do not need to engage in combat. We simply need to exist." Her words reminded her crew of the principle humanity had followed for generations. Strength without aggression is often the most powerful statement. Elsewhere, small alien vessels approached cautiously, trying to understand the Titan's systems. Every approach failed. Communications were jammed by the Titan's passive defenses, engines overheated near its gravitational field, sensors overloaded by its emissions. Yet no shot was fired, no harm was intended, and yet fear grew exponentially. The alien fleets began to realize that humans did not rely on weapons to project power. Humans relied on innovation, coordination, and foresight. Even one ship could dominate space without ever striking a target. Velith addressed his officers privately. "You see, this is not just a ship. This is the philosophy of a species. They do not need to fight to be powerful. They do not need to conquer to be feared. And we are realizing how little we understood them. The Council sent messages to nearby systems, requesting historical data on humanity. Archives revealed centuries of overlooked achievements. Humans had colonized difficult planets, survived cosmic events, and developed technology far beyond what other species expected. Their engineering was meticulous, their communication networks resilient, their strategies sophisticated. Alien analysts began revising their views. "We believed humans were weak," said one analyst. "Now we see they are architects of survival." Every human system is a fortress, every city a carefully engineered network, every ship a moving stronghold. And now, one ship alone has taught the galaxy a lesson. Meanwhile, Alina and her crew continued their journey through the sector. They had no reason to stop. No hostile action had been taken, and yet their presence had changed perceptions forever. Lieutenant Torres observed the alien signals being analyzed by their own networks. "They are confused," she said. "They don't know if they should fear us, admire us, or learn from us." And the truth is all three are correct. The Titan passed through the border without incident. The alien fleet followed at a distance, hesitant, respectful, and in awe. By the time the human ship exited the sector, reports had reached nearly every corner of nearby space. The galaxy's perception of humanity had shifted overnight. Captain Alina Graves spoke to her crew. "We have not made war. We have not conquered. We have done what humans do best. We have survived and adapted. And in doing so, we have reminded the galaxy that humans cannot be ignored." As the Titan disappeared into deeper space, alien fleets discussed what they had seen. Some wondered how many more Titan-class ships existed. Some speculated about human colonies and hidden technologies. Every species now faced a question that had never occurred to them before. How far ahead is humanity really? For centuries, humans had been underestimated. For centuries, the galaxy had ignored them. Now, in one silent display of strength, one ship had rewritten history. And deep in the command center of the Titan, Alina knew this was only the beginning. Humanity would continue to grow, adapt, and challenge expectations, not through violence, but through presence, preparation, and ingenuity. One day, the galaxy would come to understand that humans were not just survivors. They were pioneers, protectors, and a force unlike any other. For now, though, the Titan sailed onward, calm, deliberate, and unarmed, leaving behind awe, fear, and a new understanding of what it meant to be human. The lesson was clear. Humans were no longer a species to be dismissed. They were an unstoppable force, not because of their weapons, but because of their mind, their resilience, and their ability to thrive when others failed. The galaxy had never witnessed such a phenomenon before. Across multiple star systems, fleets of alien vessels scrambled to make sense of the Titan-class warship. Its appearance, size, and silent authority had left a mark that no one could ignore. Panic had replaced curiosity in the hearts of many species. In the Zorathian trade fleet, Captain Velith paced the bridge. His claws tapped rhythmically against the console, though his thoughts were anything but calm. "I've never seen anything like this," he said to his officers. "We are dealing with a species that defies every expectation. One ship, is enough to unsettle an entire sector." Lyra, his science officer, adjusted her sensors again. "It's not just size or power," she said. "It's how it operates. The Titan doesn't attack, doesn't threaten. Yet we feel that it could destroy us if it wished, and somehow that is even more frightening." Other species felt the same unease. Across the galaxy, fleets communicated through encrypted channels. Scientists debated, diplomats panicked, and military leaders questioned their own security. How could one ship, operated by a species considered minor and weak, project such overwhelming dominance without firing a single shot? Meanwhile, aboard the Titan, Captain Alina Graves monitored these reactions with quiet interest. The humans had learned long ago that showing restraint could be more powerful than aggression. Every action aboard the Titan was calculated, precise, and deliberate. The ship's systems hummed with energy, but nothing was aggressive. Lieutenant Torres approached Alina, pointing to a screen filled with alien signals and intercepted communications. "They are panicking," she said. "Their fleets are unsure if they should retreat, attack, or negotiate. Some smaller ships have already drifted out of range because their systems cannot function near our energy field." Alina nodded. "That is expected. Humans prepare for the impossible. Other species assume that power is shown through force. We show it through capability. Let them come to understand that." Even as the Titan passed silently through the sector, some alien ships attempted to follow more closely. Almost immediately, technical failures crippled their engines. Sensors overloaded, communications scrambled. Panic spread further. One Zorathian engineer whispered, "It's not attacking, and yet we cannot approach. We are powerless simply being near it." At the Galactic Council, representatives of dozens of species convened in emergency session. Holographic projections of the Titan appeared in the center of the chamber. Whispers and exclamations filled the hall. Some council members trembled, others marveled. Every species now shared the same realization. Humans were far more than the galaxy had been taught. Ambassador Kron of the Grax, his voice strained, spoke first. "We cannot underestimate them any longer. One Titan-class ship, one human, has the power to disrupt every fleet in this sector, and yet it does not attack. It does not even show hostility." A Tharn historian responded, his multiple eyes narrowing. "It is a philosophical power. This is not a warship in the sense we understand. It is a statement of potential, a demonstration of capability. The Titan shows us what humanity has learned about survival and preparation." Back on the Titan, Alina smiled slightly. She walked along the observation deck, watching the alien fleets from above. "They are beginning to understand," she said. "Fear is their first reaction. Curiosity comes next. Respect, that takes time." Lieutenant Torres studied the communications logs. "Some species are trying to send fleets to confront us, but their signals fail. Their ships are unable to get closer than a certain distance. Our passive systems prevent them from endangering themselves. They do not understand that no one needs to fire to create panic." Indeed, humans had learned a unique principle. Sometimes the mere presence of a capable being could influence events more than direct action. Humanity had survived millennia by preparing for worst-case scenarios, building redundancy into everything, and always planning 2 steps ahead. The Titan-class warship embodied this philosophy: overwhelming power restrained by intelligence, not instinct. As the Titan moved, smaller alien ships continued to falter in its proximity. Some tried to scan the ship, their sensors overloaded. Others attempted to communicate, their signals scrambled. Even the bravest captains began to withdraw, unsure whether they were being tested, threatened, or simply observed. Captain Velith watched helplessly. "We are trained to respond to threats," he muttered. "We are trained to fight when fear appears. But this is something we cannot fight. We can only observe and panic." The situation spread across the galaxy. Civilian colonies, trade stations, and academic hubs intercepted reports and studied the Titan's characteristics. Scholars debated how a single species could achieve such engineering prowess. Military analysts tried to determine the ship's weak points, but none could be found, and the humans continued their journey, calm and deliberate. Every officer aboard the Titan understood that this was a test, not of combat, but of patience. They were demonstrating that humans could project immense influence without engaging in violence. An alien delegation finally decided to attempt communication. They sent a formal message: "We request clarification. One ship has passed our sector, exceeding all known technology limits. We seek understanding. Identify your purpose." The Titan responded promptly, politely, and clearly, "We wish only to travel safely through space. No harm will come to you or your fleet. Humanity prepares for survival, not conquest. We value life and continuity above all else." The message only deepened the galaxy's confusion. Many species had assumed that ships of such size and power must be aggressive. Yet here was the opposite, a ship capable of total destruction, explaining that its purpose was protection, endurance, and continuity. "Captain," Lieutenant Torres said quietly, "they do not know whether to fear us or admire us, and in truth they should do both." Elinor nodded. "It is not our job to create fear. It is our responsibility to exist responsibly. Power without wisdom is dangerous. Power with wisdom, that can change the galaxy." The panic was now more psychological than physical. Entire fleets delayed missions, adjusted trade routes, and even postponed diplomatic meetings just to observe human activity. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity could influence events not by force, but by potential. Some species speculated wildly. "Perhaps humans have other ships like the Titan," said one Zorathian officer. "Perhaps hundreds of them. If even a fraction exist, they could dominate entire systems without firing a weapon." Others began to reevaluate their own strategies. Could they continue to underestimate humans? Could they rely on traditional displays of force when facing a species that projected power through preparedness, discipline, and intellect? Elinor watched from the bridge as the alien fleets gradually regained some composure, though the fear still lingered. "This is how humans change perceptions," she said. "Not by destroying others, but by showing them what they are capable of." And as the Titan-class warship sailed onward, deeper into uncharted sectors, the galaxy was left with lingering questions. How many Titans existed? How many humans were preparing in hidden colonies? What could a species that survived every known catastrophe accomplish if fully mobilized? For the first time, humans were no longer underestimated. They were not simply survivors or minor participants in galactic affairs. They were masters of adaptation, architects of endurance, and a force defined not by aggression, but by intelligence and preparation. Captain Elinor Graves turned to her officers. "Remember this. We do not need to show our power through destruction. Our presence alone changes the galaxy. Let them fear wisely, respect honestly, and learn from what they cannot yet comprehend." The Titan moved forward, calm, silent, unstoppable, and unarmed. And the alien fleets, once confident and proud, now drifted in awe, unable to act, unsure of their next move, and profoundly changed in their understanding of humanity. For the humans aboard the Titan, the lesson was clear. True strength was not in weapons, not in numbers, but in resilience, preparation, and wisdom. And in this quiet demonstration, humanity had already begun to reshape the galaxy's perception, without firing a single shot. The galaxy was still reeling from the sight of the Titan-class warship. Every system that had intercepted reports of the massive human ship began to discuss its implications. Governments debated security policies, trade alliances reconsidered routes, and military strategists quietly updated their fleet designs. Humanity had not fired a shot, yet the mere presence of one ship had shifted the balance of galactic perception. In the Zorathian trade fleet, Captain Velith continued to grapple with what he had witnessed. The calm and deliberate actions of the Titan had left him deeply unsettled. "We have underestimated humans for centuries," he admitted to his officers. "And now, the galaxy sees only a fraction of their potential. How many more Titans exist? How many more innovations have we ignored?" Across other star systems, similar debates erupted. Some species reacted with fear, pulling fleets back and establishing protective perimeters around their colonies. Others reacted with admiration, seeking diplomatic contact, hoping to understand humans and perhaps learn from them. and a few, the boldest, wondered whether humanity's philosophy of restraint could be applied to the galaxy at large. Meanwhile, aboard the Titan, Captain Alina Graves stood on the bridge, observing the distant alien fleets and distant stars. The human crew worked quietly, each member focused on their duties, but aware of the subtle impact their presence had on the galaxy. "Captain," said Lieutenant Torres, approaching her with the latest intercepted communications, "they are beginning to send messages through proper channels. They want clarification, negotiation, and, surprisingly, cooperation. They are no longer questioning whether humans are dangerous. They are asking what humans can teach them." Alina smiled. "That is the difference," she said softly. "Humans do not seek domination. Humans seek understanding, preparedness, and progress. We do not conquer with fear. We influence with knowledge and example." The Titan moved deeper into the uncharted sector, yet its journey remained a silent demonstration of human capability. Every system on board functioned in perfect harmony. Every crew member knew their role. Every sensor, every engine, every shield and array was optimized to function flawlessly. And the aliens watching from afar felt the weight of this efficiency, unable to fully comprehend it. In several fleets, panic had given way to curiosity and awe. The more they analyzed the Titan, the more they realized that humanity's engineering principles were beyond anything known in galactic space. Ships were built with redundancy and resilience far greater than what other species considered necessary. Civilizations were structured to survive disasters that would destroy others in an instant. And humans themselves, while physically smaller and seemingly weaker, had developed strategies, coordination, and intelligence that allowed them to thrive under impossible circumstances. At the Galactic Council, an emergency session was called to address humanity's newfound presence. Holograms of the Titan flickered in the chamber, and representatives spoke with urgency. "This is a turning point," said Ambassador Kron of the Grax. "Humanity is no longer a minor species. One ship has shown more capability and foresight than entire fleets of many civilizations. We must reconsider every assumption about their technology, strategy, and role in the galaxy." A Tharn historian added, "We were blind to the lessons humans had already learned. They prepare for what we cannot imagine. They survive what we cannot endure. And now, with the Titan, they demonstrate that even restraint can project strength beyond comprehension." Back on the Titan, Alina convened her bridge officers for a strategic briefing. "Our mission is not conquest," she said. "It is presence, observation, and example. We will not engage in violence. We will not provoke. We will allow the galaxy to see what humans are capable of, prepared, intelligent, and responsible. Our purpose is to protect, to endure, and to inspire." Commander Malik nodded. "We've done more than simply exist, Captain. We've reshaped perception without firing a weapon. Every species that observed us now understands that humans cannot be dismissed." As the Titan continued its journey, it encountered scattered alien scouts attempting to approach. Each time, the Titan's passive systems created a subtle barrier. Sensors overloaded, engines faltered, and communications became scrambled, but never hostile. Any fleet that came near found that the ship's sheer presence demanded respect. No attack was necessary. The Titan was an unspoken lesson in human ingenuity and preparedness. In several weeks, word of the Titan's voyage reached systems far beyond the sector. Humanity, long considered insignificant, was now being actively studied, analyzed, and reevaluated. Some species sought peaceful contact. Others planned cautious defense measures. The lesson was universal. Humans were capable of projecting power without aggression, influencing events through skill, foresight, and endurance. Alina reviewed the data on alien communications. "They are finally beginning to understand," she said. "They are no longer reacting with fear alone. They are asking questions, seeking dialogue and learning. That is progress, that is influence, that is humanity's way. As the Titan neared the edge of the uncharted sector, the first official delegation requested direct diplomatic contact. Humans were invited to share knowledge, to demonstrate principles of engineering, strategy, and resilience. The galaxy had finally recognized that human survival was not luck, it was deliberate, planned, and extraordinary. Captain Graves addressed her crew. "Today, we have done what humans do best. We have shown that true strength is measured not in destruction, but in preparation. Not in fear, but in the ability to endure and inspire. Humanity has made its first statement to the galaxy. We exist, and we are ready for the challenges of the universe." The Titan moved onward, its engines glowing softly, a silent giant passing through the void. The alien fleets followed at a cautious distance, recording every observation. The galaxy's perspective had shifted overnight. Humans were no longer considered minor, weak, or irrelevant. They were seen as architects of survival, protectors of life, and a species whose influence extended far beyond their numbers. In the weeks that followed, fleets and colonies began adjusting policies, trade routes, and alliances. Humanity was no longer ignored. Humans were invited to councils, asked for consultation, and respected across systems that had once dismissed them. One ship, calm and unarmed, had changed the perception of an entire galaxy. Back on the Titan, Elena reflected on the journey. "This is only the beginning," she told her crew. "Humanity will continue to explore, to prepare, and to lead, not with weapons but with intelligence, endurance, and responsibility. The galaxy has learned its first lesson, and many more will follow." As the Titan sailed into deeper, uncharted space, one message echoed quietly across communication channels. "We build big because the universe is fragile. We prepare not for domination, but for survival and for continuity. Respect life, respect preparation, and you will understand humanity." The alien fleets watched in awe as the massive human ship faded into the distance. Panic had transformed into respect, fear into admiration, and confusion into understanding. Humanity had proven itself not through conflict, but through the demonstration of potential, intellect, and the discipline to wield immense power responsibly. Captain Elena Graves turned to her officers one last time before leaving the observation deck. "Remember this. The galaxy will always underestimate humans at first, but if we remain prepared, patient, and responsible, that underestimation will always be corrected, not through force, but through existence." The Titan sailed onward, a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience, leaving behind awe, inspiration, and a galaxy forever changed. Humans had arrived, and the universe would never see them as minor again.